will move into the right position to tip him over. But again, you need to know how they react, where to throw it, so you get him into the right position. And we move up to him, and there we go, push. Third target. Sticky end.
You can hear him drowning in the oil. So that's it. Now you have your 3 out of 3 targets. And you're going to select an exit. That's also a part of contracts that's different from the story mode, that you can actually select your own exit. And that again means that the whole level starts to open up in terms of the combination possibilities. So these targets with this exit, these targets with another exit, or indeed some other targets. And you can kind of see how the combinations start working.
And my specific thinking with using the exit back here, which is actually the entrance to the level, is that if something goes wrong when someone's playing this, they could very well end up with a street full of angry police that they would have to deal with.
I also think it bears mention now, as we are headed for the end of this contract, that what you've been doing here is a fairly elaborate contract. We saw 2 accident kills, some of them actually requiring you to know the level quite well. And one of the discussions we had on the team is that in one way this is a super cool expression of skill. So in this way you can share with your friends that you found out some weird and wonderful little detail in a level where you can make them chuckle. You can even wear a weird disguise if you want to, and you can do all sorts of things.
Yes.
But we also introduced a new concept, which is a more free mode, which is what we're showing here, that the accident kills you pull off, we actually strip that condition and we just say, these targets, but any disguise and any weapon you want,
yes,
because that can also open up contracts. So this is a choice as a creator you will have. Do you want to make it exactly like I did it, or do you open up and make it more of a classic hit?
Yes.
And I guess that's what you're also going to be
exactly.
showing.
So what we're going to be looking at now is a very different approach, where I've selected a sniper rifle. And we're going to approach the same contract, but deal with it as if it were a sniper challenge.
So the contract we just saw in creation is now live on the contract servers. And Torben is now going to play against himself in 3 different trials that we're going to see. We are going to make them a little bit archetypical, or a little bit, very clean. This is a very clean way of saying, okay, I got this contract, I can see 3 targets, what can I do with a sniper rifle? What if I choose to bring a sniper rifle to the level?
Yes, the sniper rifle that I took in is the Keizo TRG, the one from the Sniper Challenge, that I think a lot of you know quite well. I've chosen to upgrade it with a silencer, and a couple of other upgrades that will make it more precise, reduce recoil as well. So I'm heading up into an upstairs apartment from where I can make my shots.
Mm-hmm. It also bears mention that obviously the way Torben upgraded his weapon was with money he earned, creating contracts and playing contracts. So yeah, that's basically how you do it. You spend your money on better silencers,
yes,
better reload rates, and all that.
So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my target to come up, and I'm going to do this with a shot into the ground. Now that costs me a condition to do that, but it brings my target out, headshot. Now the next thing that happens, the mechanic has seen it. He's panicking. He's running to my second target to inform him. So when we swing back, there you go, he just told my second target that he's seen a body, and out he comes. And
this is very much what we also showed is going on in the Sniper Challenge, is this, you can play around with what the AI is going to do, and the better you know the level, the more you can manipulate it, basically.
And here we go, headshot. Note squeezing the trigger there, just to ease the aim, get a more precise shot. And we're going to take out our third target, second story window, nice and easy.
So that's one way of changing the game, you can say, bringing the sniper rifle. In this case, it requires you to know what the AI is going to do, how it will react. Oh, that was a surprise for you.
Yes, but notice that I'm choosing to subdue him. I'm not killing him. That means I don't fail the do only kill targets restriction.
But you failed another condition, I don't know if people noticed. In the first playthrough when Torben created the contract, he didn't miss a shot. And when you actually distracted the first police officer to get him out in the first place, you actually missed the shot.
Yes, but I chose to sacrifice that to be able to pull off this playthrough. And you can see my score is still over 200,000.
Sorry,
so,
and I think that's the point, that we are showing some different ways to approach it. Some of them will be better than the original contract, some will be worse, but they will all require that you kind of know the game and you experiment with the game to make it happen.
Yes. Bodies have been found. The situation is starting to move out of control. Backup arrived. That's a bad one, because now the street will be full of cops with rather a lot of firepower, but they don't know it's me. So we'll head for the exit and see how this went. The score won't be as good because we did fail a condition.
Mm-hmm. But maybe you could have found some other way.
Yes.
What we see typically when we play contract is obviously that people try a lot of different approaches. Then you typically find an approach that you like, and then you start honing in on that one, and maybe you spend 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 attempts to really perfect what you're doing.
Yes.
Because obviously after the first kill, the clock starts ticking. So you really need to consider, when do I start the clock?
So we're going to look at a second playthrough here. Now this is sort of your classic frustration playthrough, right? I'm tired of that sniper nonsense, give me an assault rifle.
In this case, you bought it, right?
In this case, I bought it. I've also decked it out with a couple of upgrades to increase its range, lengthen the magazine, and also bring some extra clips in with me. So basically, I'm loaded for bear now.
So we'll see how that goes. I think I have an inclination of that, but let's see. So you're doing something different this time as well. You're going to take them from kind of a different order.
Yes, and also I'm exploring a little bit just to see when I start going nuts with automatic weapon fire, where can I expect threats? I've got a couple of cops in here with in the donut bar, predictably. I hear some fans laughing.
Now, Cougars,
that's good.
They had a pair of linebackers like them since '86. Yeah. Cougars this, Cougars that. You know.
Another thing I could perhaps have done, I didn't do it with this playthrough, but it is an option. I could have perhaps looked at taking a disguise that included some body armor.
Yeah, that would make it at least easier to survive. Not that you'll need it.
Yes.
What we're trying to show here is that I think there are as many different ways of approaching a contract as you can come up with. Obviously, some of these will be more competitive. Some of them will just be for fun. I mean, you could also have chosen to wear a chicken costume if you had unlocked the chicken costume. Yes. So we can do all sorts of crazy stuff, basically, when you play contracts. And it's this borderline between showing off fun stuff and sometimes really competing on the highest possible level to be the best assassin, and it can do both, right?
Yes. Okay, so we're about to kick off the show here, so let's see how it goes. Squeezing the trigger there to get some more precision. There we go. Already, I've been spotted, I missed a few shots, and I killed someone who wasn't a target. So,
but you still might have some speed.
Yes. Hopefully, I will have speed going for me. Trying not to kill too many people. If we can get through before that backup arrives, before we get into too much trouble, this could still be a viable approach.
So again, this all ties down to when you create the contract initially, how many conditions do you set up? If unseen is on, do you only kill targets? Do you hide the bodies? Everything will be kind of what you're competing against. And the more free you make it, the more you also allow people to do what they want, basically. So again, I think this action approach is, it always starts out feeling like, this is brute force, I can do this easily. But I also think you saw the backup arriving. Yes. This is also something new for Hitman Absolution, that the combat AI can both spawn in reinforcements. It's much better at flanking you.
You can actually see we're being flanked.
And you will see that you have a fight on your hand if you can't contain the situation. And
in this case, we're choosing to contain the situation with a lot of automatic weapon fire.
So how are you going to get out, Torben?
Well, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this heat style. I'm going to go cover to cover, suppress targets, take them out if I see them, but keep moving as aggressively as I can towards the exit. And I don't want to get pinned down because backup will keep arriving. So I can't just turtle down and take them all out. I need to keep moving.
I think you're in trouble.
No, I just need to keep moving cover to cover. That's the rule of this thing.
So another thing that's, I think I'll wait until the fighting is died down a little bit.
Okay.
I think your street is clear.
Yes, for now at least.
So you can see here the score is not going to be perfect, but another thing we wanted to accomplish with contracts is that you can actually get some money, even though it wasn't the cleanest approach, you actually killed your target. So in that sense, you fulfilled your contract.
Yes.
I don't think you fulfilled it in so many other ways. Another point with contracts is also that it will actually register which difficulty you initially played it on. And this was normal difficulty, which means that you are able to take a few more bullets than you would be on hard, expert, or purist difficulty. So again, by choosing which difficulty you want to create the contract, you're also stating something about which way to play it. Combat can be quite challenging if it's on a higher difficulty.
Yes.
All right, so that's looking at what happens if you bring an assault rifle.
Yes.
In the final one, we'll be looking a little bit on how to actually beat your score.
Yes. And we'll also be looking at how there is always more than one solution, even if the creator has come up with something that really, really seems smart. So we're going to be doing this really classic 47 style with silver ballers and fiber wire. But the different approach that I'm taking initially is I'm going to go right around the targets. I'm not going to go 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. Because in the action playthrough, I could see that I could get a good flow going that way.
And you're perfectly free to choose, right? I mean,
Yes.
the order, the numbers are there for you to recognize who's who.
Yes.
This is particularly important if you know that you have to kill this guy wearing a chipmunk suit and you have to do it with a hatchet. Then it's pretty important that you know that's guy number 3 that has to go that way, and probably the other guys will have to go other ways. But in this case, you're free to take them any order you want, sorry.
Yes.
Again, if you think about it, I hope your minds are thinking how you could do this better, because I'm pretty sure you could. The second you do your first kill, the clock starts ticking. So if you can optimize, if you can think about when do I want to start my kill, can I somehow prep the level? Can I place an object that I want in a certain place? Could I find some remote explosives? If you've been following the Streets of Phobe, you'll know that there is an apartment where you can find these things. Could you maybe place them somewhere and then kill one guy, then start the explosion? There's a lot of combinations.
Now, notice that I chose to hide the body there. This isn't a requirement for the contract. I don't earn extra money for doing it, but I keep control of the situation. What this means is that the likelihood of someone finding that body and alerting the police and everything going bad is very small. I'm still in control of the situation. So even though I won't earn a money bonus for it, I can actually stay ahead of the curve and really stay in control of the situation.
So I think this is one of the places where contracts is really fun to play. You did your first kill, you know what you're going to do, you know the level, you laid your plans, and now the clock is ticking. So you get this sort of, you want to be deliberate and careful, but on the other hand, you really have to consider that if you want to beat the original creator, you have to do it faster than him, if you are setting out to fulfill all the requirements.
Yes. So here I decided to be a little bit more creative than I was originally planning to do. I was just going to walk around the corner and take him down with a headshot, but let's see what we can pull off with this.
A big part of playing Absolution in both story mode and in contracts mode is obviously to just pay attention to the surroundings, know your levels well, and figure out all the different ways you can achieve your goals, basically, in this case. That's not going to end well.
No, it is not.
All right, poor guy. So throughout Absolution, you'll find these accidents are everywhere. It's not the safest of worlds to live in if you're not 47. And if you're a good player, you'll pretty much spot all of them. If you've been playing our King of Chinatown demo on the floor, you'll see that we also have challenges for you to complete when you play the game. And each of these challenges will typically reflect a different way of achieving a kill or doing something stealthily in the game.
Okay, so we're moving up on our final target now. We have a tiny window to take him out. The mechanic's got his back turned. The fiber wire is a great weapon for this because you take the target and you can immediately start pulling them away.
This is also something new introduced in Absolution because we really wanted to look at all the different features we knew from the original games, and then we wanted to see if we can make them a little bit more smooth and make them find their own character. And the fiber wire is in a way the ultimate stealth weapon because it's completely silent, and as Torben mentioned, it will end directly in a drag, so you can actually get rid of the body very fast if you know what you're doing.
So now the only thing left to do is to get out. And we do need to be careful because instinct mode is telling us someone's coming through here. So we need to find somewhere to hide, but somewhere that won't take us too much time to get in and out of, because the clock's ticking, time's a premium.
I also think this is a very good way of showing the discussion about instinct, that it actually, we made it so that you don't have to always look at a map, but you're in the game world, where we actually find that the game is much more vibrant and alive. In this case, you can see someone coming, could also have been looking at a map, but we found that this is definitely a more interesting approach.
So the only challenge remains, and notice that the game is quiet. Nobody knows what's happened, the targets are taken out, the bodies are hidden, nobody's panicking.
This is basically a silent assassin run.
Yes.
The point is also at this point, if Torben gets spotted at any point, he actually fails a condition, and he will actually be worse off than when the contract was created. So there, for instance, you have some spikes that are
a little bit scary, but I mean, any landing you walk away from is a good one.
I think that's the case for a lot of Hitman missions.
Yes.
So I guess this is also wrapping up some of the stuff we wanted to show you. We really wanted to show you another level, just to show you that contracts works here as well as in the hippie world we showed in Germany last time. If you consider how many characters are on the streets of Hope, and that you can combine them as targets however you want, and you can kill them however you want, and you can then choose to share this by saying you need to kill them exactly as I did, or you're free to do whatever you want. You can bring disguises into this level, you can bring weapons into this level, then you start getting a grasp on how much replay value contracts actually add to the game.
Yes.
So,
let's check the final score. And there we go. We upped our score by almost 25,000.
I guess that's it. So,
yes.
Thank you for watching, guys. That's contracts for Hitman Absolution. I hope you like it.
So we've got a bit of time for Q&A actually, and there are some people walking around with microphones. So if you stick your hand up, one of our guys will find you, and and if they can then find me with their attention. Who's first then? Over here on the right. Please stand up when you ask your question, just so the guys can see you. Over here.
I don't think we see anyone, but that's okay.
Hi.
There we go. Hey.
I want to ask. Would Hitman have a base of operation like he did in Hitman 2 with the church, where he can store his weapons and everything? And also, I also noticed that the police, even if you kill a police officer, you lose some points, but they have a gun. So I was hoping that if you kill them, you won't be penalized for that.
I'm sorry. I think I'll ask we'll take one question at a time. Okay. So in Absolution, a lot of the story is about how 47 will actually have to find his feet, since he's without a handler and he's without an agency. And we also wanted him to be without a base of operations, basically. So we have the concept of a safe house in contracts mode, which is more the fantasy of the professional assassin. But in Absolution, which is more tailored like a road movie, you don't. What was the second part of the question?
The second one is that if you kill a police officer, anyone that's armed,
yes,
still penalized for that.
Yes. So the rating system in Absolution definitely favors the stealthy player. And we also, for instance, if you want to be a silent assassin, we say that you cannot kill anyone but your target. In the case of armed opposition in Hitman Absolution, the case is that if you kill them silently and if you hide the body, it doesn't give you any minus points. But if you simply kill someone and leave them in the streets, that will give you minus points.
Okay. And would you be considering making a DLC stage demo for us before the game comes out in November, like the Meat King, like all the old, stages from the old Hitman games?
What you're asking is whether we'll do demos of the old games, or do I get that?
Stage DLC, like a downloadable stage to keep us occupied till the game comes in November.
Not to my knowledge, no. All right.
Okay, where are we going next? Over here on the left, perhaps, at the back? I don't know. You need to stand up if you've got a mic. Here we go. Okay, right in the centre.
That's brilliant. Thanks. All right, I've got two questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first question, in the last Hitman games, if you came in and you changed your disguise, or if you came in with a certain gun, you would get extra points if you re-changed back into your original disguise, or
yes,
took the guns actually away with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Have you kept that element actually in this next game?
Yes, very much so. What we did, we changed the formula a little bit. As I mentioned, we have challenges in story mode, and a challenge in Hitman Absolution, well, basically challenges to do something. So it could be killing the King of Chinatown by finding some poison and escaping. It could also be, and that goes for all levels in Absolution, that you complete it suit only, or that you complete it without being spotted. So a lot of the elements that you know from the previous games will be there in the form of challenges. And then what happens is that if you complete a challenge on a level, that will give you a permanent bonus to the score you'll get from every playthrough following that one. So that means if you're competing with your friends on leaderboards for who can get the highest score on a level, you'll definitely gain some benefit by doing a suit-only run, for instance.
Brilliant, nice one. One final question, not exactly Hitman related. I'm reading all over the internet about a HD collection of the original games being released, but nothing's been confirmed, and I can't find anything anywhere.
And
Can you tell me anything about that?
I can't confirm that here, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Cool.
I think we have someone down the front here.
Ah, here we go, yes.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi guys, thanks a lot for doing this. I've got two questions as well, and the first one is to do with the ending of Blood Money. And I won't say just in case someone hasn't played it, but it was really artistic and really unique and really cinematic. Without giving too much away, can we expect something unique and awesome for the ending of Absolution?
I think I won't really spoil anything about what's going to happen in the game beyond what we've already shown.
Okay.
Sorry, but you'll play the game and you can see what happens.
And the second question is, one of the coolest things for me in a Hitman is just walking around with a suitcase. As soon as I do it, I don't even care if I don't use a sniper rifle. I just feel like amazing with the suitcase. Can I still do that?
The suitcase is not a part of Hitman Absolution. It's not to say it's not a part of the franchise anymore. It's just that we really wanted to create a more improvised, more road movie feeling installment, if you will. Because at the heart of it, 47 doesn't really know what happened. He's starting to question a lot of things, and he needs to figure out quite desperately who is this girl that he's charged to protect by Diana, who you will know if you know the franchise. So we felt that it would fit the nature of the game better, that he's actually much of the time he's in environments that he didn't pre-plan and that he doesn't know that well. Whereas in the old games, he really got down to the detailed descriptions of the hits he was going to perform.
Okay, awesome. Thanks a lot.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, we've got. I think there's a chap there with his hand up. On the right. Go on, Adrian.
Hi. The contracts mode looks really cool. I was just wondering, with the ability to mark any target for other players, and with the levels themselves being taken out from the actual single-player story mode, did you, with the routines for the NPCs, were they handcrafted specifically to create interesting contract opportunities, or were you focused more on making sure that the single-player experience was balanced around them?
That's a good question. That's obviously one we also asked ourselves when we were developing contracts mode and the story mode. What we felt is that they actually walk hand in hand quite nicely, because the way you approach a story mode mission, if you will, is typically much the same as you would do if it was a contract that was created on specific targets. Since we really want basically, we want some guys to remain stationary in a level, and we want other guys to actually connect areas and walk around and be unpredictable. So you can actually see when we have some contracts example we showed, for instance, back in Germany, we did a contract on a guy who was moving and a guy who was standing still, and they pose very different problems, because killing someone, if you try to imagine it, you're in the King of Chinatown, it's a very populated area, you have a police officer standing in front of a vendor stall, and the task, the contract was to kill him and hide his body without being detected. And this guy, he's pretty happy just standing there and looking. So that's one challenge, right? On the other hand, you get people moving around. And so in that way, it fit quite nicely with what we were doing with story mode all along. And then I think there's a detail here that will interest at least people who will be playing on higher difficulties, because we did something quite ambitious with the difficulty levels. So if you play on normal mode, you'll get one setup of a level. But if you jump up to hard difficulty, you will actually find that there are additional NPCs in the level, and they will have alternate paths. So you get this weird feeling of déjà vu when you play the level that, hey, I'm used to rounding this corner, and then I'm going to do, kill a guy, take his disguise. But when you round the corner, he's actually talking to someone else, so you can't just take his disguise. And by the way, he's looking directly at you, so now you're probably busted. And for each difficulty level, that will actually increase, and again, that will increase the number of targets in contracts.
But just to talk to difficulty levels in contracts, the difficulty level you create a contract on is the difficulty level you play it on. You cannot change it. So if you create a contract that is on a really high difficulty level, I think some of you know what I'm talking about, well, that becomes the challenge. So it's very much part of the contract itself.
Yeah.
And just as a final point, talking about setup and story mode, as you saw here, we got people to go into accidents that were not crafted for them, simply by using the distraction system and the way they interact with their environment to get people who were not targets in story mode, just guys, to actually move into accidents so that we could trigger accidents on them.
That's a very good point.
Can I just ask one last very quick question?
Yeah.
Obviously, you rack up lots of money at the end of a contract. Is that just for bragging rights on leaderboards, or can you actually buy stuff in-game with that money? And if so, does it carry over to what equipment or whatever you can use in single player?
So basically, the economy in contracts is that you earn money as a professional assassin, and you can use that to unlock weapons and unlock disguises and unlock upgrades for these weapons. And that's also sort of the ecosystem for the contract's money. Then there's also a leaderboard. We have 3 different leaderboards in contracts. We have one that you mentioned, who is the richest assassin in the world, which is basically about playing a lot of contracts and earning a lot of money. But we also wanted to have a leaderboard for the people who are probably the most skillful assassins in the world. So we made that leaderboard, and that means that if you rank high on a competition, we will invite you to competitions. You can even invite each other to competitions. Every time you place yourself high on a leaderboard in competition, you will earn a trophy, and the guy with the most trophies is the most deadly assassin in the world. And it's actually scaling, so the more people are in the competition, the more trophy points are there for you to grab. And then finally, we have a 3rd leaderboard for the most popular assassin, and I know our community team will be looking a lot on the players who actually managed to rake up most likes for their contracts, because at the end of completing any contract, you'll be asked whether you liked it or you disliked it, and that's obviously a way to also search. When you search for contracts you want to play, how liked is the contract I'm going to play.
Fantastic. I think we're going to have to leave it there, I'm afraid. But
all right.
So it just remains me to say thank you very much for coming, and thank you again to Christian and
Thank
Torben.
you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.